Hi there, I'm Andrew, you're watching ThatGamerAjax, and for today's video, I wanted to try and do something a little bit different. So, over the past year, I've really wanted to challenge myself to try other tabletop role-playing games other than Dungeons & Dragons. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Dungeons & Dragons, but there's a lot out there, and I really wanted to start kind of challenging myself to find some unique ones and even talk about them for all of you. So today I want to talk just a little bit about the basics of a game that I personally have really come to love in a lot of ways that are similar to Dungeons & Dragons, and it's a little bit different. It's called Veil of the Void. Veil of the Void is a science fiction and fantasy role-playing game that really emphasizes the need for you and your characters to grow, and it really rewards you for investing in a character long-term through skill growth and enemies growing and adapting to you the longer that you play. It's a little bit of a crunchier system compared to Dungeons & Dragons, which instead of just rolling a single d20, you have to roll a certain number of d6 to determine if you succeed on something or not. And if you are a little intimidated by a game that doesn't have a whole lot of official supported material yet, this might be one that you want to hold off on for a little while, but the game has a lot of merits, and I'd really like to just discuss them with you because I love this game and I would love to see more people trying it out. So the way that Veil of the Void plays is very, very similar to Dungeons & Dragons. You have your roleplay elements that are occurring on a pretty regular basis, and you also have your major combat moments that play very, very similar. You have your movement, you have your special traits that are given to you by your races and your classes, you have actions, extra actions, etc. If you can play the combat in Dungeons & Dragons, you can do the combat in this game, no problem. The only difference to it really is that, it's that sci-fi setting. You have guns, you have swords, you have magic that works in very wonky ways that is entirely different from the way that D&D plays. But there's a lot of transferable skills, and there are a lot of really awesome, unique moments that this game has, such as a lot more conditions that you as a player are able to inflict on enemies during combat scenarios. There are also a lot of very unique classes that Veil of the Void has that D&D really doesn't. For a very basic rundown, you have the Combat Medic, which focuses on being kind of a ranged healer unit that's also capable of doing a lot of damage. You have the Field Knight, which is a very aggressive tank that likes to use jetpacks or rocket boots to launch yourself around. You have the Necromancer, which is an undead kind of wielding knight that you can either play as a ranged unit or use those big two-handed weapons to get in the fray of things. You have the Smuggler, which focuses on being a very dexterous gunslinger. You have the Soldier, which is an overall well-rounded combatant that you can either play up close and personal or sit in the back with a sniper rifle. You have the Naturalist, which focuses on nature magic. The Negotiator, which is kind of your group talker and is also able to buff allies through speaking. And then you have the Thaumaturg, which is kind of a traditional wizard, and you focus on using elemental magic. The classes really encourage you to build something that is entirely unique to you. Now, instead of having a traditional multi-class system like what our current D&D 5e has, Veil encourages you that every level that you go up with your character, you can take a trait from an entirely different class and then make it your own, as long as it's not something that is unique to that class. This really allows you to make something that really just feels like yours and really encourages you to kind of grow as a player. Now, growth is really just the big thing of Veil of the Void. The longer that you play, the more you get rewarded. Now, while D&D has your proficient skills that you have, Veil makes it so that way you can become good at anything just by using it more. It really encourages you to try working with skills that you're not particularly good at, because whether or not you succeed, it goes towards your character's experience, and it really allows you to develop and focus on skills that you're like, this is what I want to be good at. When you level up a skill, it allows you to roll more dice to determine if you succeed a check. You can start modifying some of the numbers on those dice, and sometimes you even get really unique traits when you become a master of a skill, when you get it all the way from level 1 up to the max rank of 7. Now, the way that the game plays is a little bit crunchier, as I mentioned earlier, compared to Dungeons & Dragons. You roll a certain number of six-sided die that are determined by your virtues, which are essentially the same stats that you have in D&D with, like your strength, your dexterity, constitution, etc. Now, if you roll that dice and you get a 1 or a 2 on it, it's considered a failure. If you get a 3 or a 4, it is considered a neutral, and if you get a 5 or a 6, it's considered a success. To pass a check, you just need to hit a certain number of successes with no failures. There's a lot of flexibility in what happens because of some technicalities in the game, such as if you don't have enough dice to be able to pass a check, you might be able to have something entirely unique almost blow up in your face or succeed in a way that you wouldn't have thought. If you are a game master that is wanting to run this, just be prepared for a lot of improvisation and really keep your eyes and ears open to what your players are saying, so that way you can really create something that is unique. Personally, I think that this is a game that does role-playing a lot better than Dungeons & Dragons. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love D&D. I think that the current edition that we have is super streamlined. It makes it so that way there is flexibility for new players and advanced players to play. While this game might be a little bit more off-putting for brand new players, it offers unique storytelling experiences and really just encourages you, if you are a game master, to write something that is unique to you. There is not a lot of supported material, but there are rules in place that make it so you can have some optional rules included, and really encourages you with an awesome set on how to homebrew content if that is something that you really enjoy doing. There's also a very active yet small community on Discord and Twitter when it comes to this game. I know that I personally love the people that are on there. They're a lot of fun to talk to. But overall, this is a game that is wholly unique, and I'm going to be diving a little bit more into some of the technicalities of this game and the different races that it has and some of the classes. But if you want to know a little bit more from the creator of the game himself, I have actually done an interview with him about the new rulebook that we're going to be getting sometime in the very near future. And I'll go ahead and have that linked in the description below, or you can also check it out in this area, hopefully, if it shows up. But this is the start to my Veil of the Void series, and I really just would encourage you to stick around and listen as I get to gush about something that I have absolutely come to love. So please stick around. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.